Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me today. I find it truly amazing and remarkable that we can connect and share ideas and collaborate even though we're on the other side of the world. That's amazing. So before I begin, I want to say a huge thank you to Devo team for planning and executing this entire conference. I know there are a lot of behind the scenes logistics in planning such a large event that takes place literally all over the world, and it takes an enormous amount of teamwork and dedication, so thank you for everything that you have done. Speaking of teamwork, I promise you two things today. Number one, I am going to teach you techniques that you can do on a team level or an individual level to look at challenges from a perspective you may not have done in the past. And I promise you the other thing. Number two, we're going to have fun today. We're going to have some fun, okay? So let's dive in. Let's do it. So before I begin, I need everyone to take out their cell phone for me. Everyone take out their cell phone. Take out their cell phone. Yep. And open up to your camera. Open up to your camera. Fantastic. Now, I'm going to have you take a photo of me. We're going to get back to this later, but take a photo of me right now. I'll give you 10 seconds. Okay? We're going to get back to this later, right? 10 seconds. Starting. Let me get in the zone. Now, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Hopefully you got my good side. Okay, let's dive in. Let's dive in. So as a quick intro, my name is John, and I've been traveling the world performing magic for over 15 years. And I was actually discovered by a talent agency when I was 12 years old, after I posted a few videos online of myself performing some of the tricks I created. So I was very lucky, very lucky at a young age to work with some of the best magicians in the entire world. And I want to show you one of the first tricks I learned. So all you need is actually a dollar bill. We'll get back to these things later. You need a dollar bill. And it can actually work with any currency here, but we'll use a dollar bill for now. And I want to show you, at no point am I going to turn the bill upside down. At no point am I going to turn the bill upside down, but keep your eyes on that face right there, okay? Watch. I take it, I fold it long ways like this. I fold it across, and now it is upside down. Very strange, right? Very strange. I'll do it again. I take it like this. I fold it long ways like this. I fold it across. I open it up. It's upside down. Now I'm going to teach you how I did that. The secret is actually self-working. Okay, so you can use this with any type of currency, and it's great for if you're having a networking event, or if you're in a meeting, or if you're talking to a client, just to spark some conversation, right? So all you have to do is take it, you fold it long ways like this, you fold it across, and it will naturally just go upside down. Really cool concept. But that was the first trick I learned. And I thought to myself, if I want to be a professional magician, I may have to take it up to the next level. So what I learned how to do is take the bill and fold it across like this and fold it down and down. Now watch, all I have to do is take the bill very carefully and I just shake it just like that. And hopefully it worked. Yep, it worked. It's inside out now. It's inside out. The entire bill turned inside out. Now, here's the cool thing about this. If I wanted to go back to normal, if I actually wanted to spend this money, again, I just shake it again. And here's the thing. It goes right back to normal. Right back to normal. So that's one of the first tricks I ever learned. And again, if you want to learn how I do this, maybe I talked too fast in the beginning. You want to learn the instructions. My email's up on the screen right there. So shoot me an email. I'll actually show you the instructions of how to fold it long ways and across so it goes upside down. So again, it's a great way to network with people or to spark conversation or something like that. So it's really cool. But I thought to myself, as a magician, if I do that trick where it's inside out and it goes back, most people say, yeah, that's a great trick, John, but if you can do that, why don't you just turn it into a $20 bill or a $50 bill or a $100 bill? Like, why don't you just increase the currency? So I said, yes, you have a very good point there. You have a very, very good point. But again, I want to be creative. I said, what could I do that people wouldn't expect? What's better than a $20 bill or a $50 bill or 100? And what I learned to do is actually take it. What's better than that is actually a credit card. A credit card. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, it's all about creativity. All about creativity. We'll get rid of that. There we go. And let's get moving on. Moving on. So hopefully you enjoyed that little demonstration. So I started helping other magicians create tricks and create shows. So I've always been very intrigued by the creative process and how people in general can take a vision in their head and make it a reality. So not only in magic, but just in life in general as well. And I started to realize there were a lot of transferable skills that other people could learn from magicians. And more specifically, I was working at a marketing firm one year, since I also have a background in marketing, and they knew I performed magic. So they asked how I developed tricks. They said, John, how do you actually develop tricks? So I told them a few strategies, which I'm going to share with you today as well. But one specific strategy they fell in love with was a concept called think tank. 10 magicians show up to a meeting with an end result written down, but not the method. So for example, it could be sawing someone in half. It could be making a $1 bill turn into a $20 bill, right? Just an end result. Then every person, every magician there would write down a potential method to that trick. But we can't repeat any methods that someone else wrote down. So at the end of the night, if you have 10 magicians there with 10 different end results, you walk away with 100 different possible solutions because everyone wrote down a result, a method to it, but they couldn't repeat other people's methods. Really, really cool concept. So this marketing firm loved this idea so much that we were using it to develop new products and services and marketing campaigns, and we were using it on a weekly basis. And I thought it was really cool that a corporation was using a strategy that magicians use. So I told my friend the story. He was also a magician, and he said, no way, John, that happened to me too. I said, what do you mean? Well, his background is in Hollywood and producing TV shows. And he told me that Hollywood started using our concept, and we call it incognito ideas. Incognito ideas. Here's how it works. As magicians, we'll have monthly meetings to help each other develop our shows. And what we'll have each magician do is carry a pack of sticky notes with them for a week before the meeting. And you bring this pack everywhere you go. Whenever you have an idea for a trick, you just jot it down on a sticky note. Jot it down. It could be when you're going for a hike, you jot down an idea. It could be when you're reading the morning paper, you write down an idea. It could be when you're watching a sports game, write down an idea, right? But you always keep that pack in your pocket no matter where you go. And when the time finally comes for our big meeting, everyone brings in their pack of sticky notes filled with ideas. And then we trade our pack with someone else, but no one reads anything yet. And then we trade again, and then we trade again, and then we trade again. Now no one knows whose ideas are whose. Then we'll put each individual sticky note with the idea on the walls, so we're surrounded by ideas. And we'll go through every single idea to figure out the flow of the show. Okay, this trick could go first, or then this could go right after, that could be second, or this is actually a good finale trick. A really cool concept. So my friend told me, he told a Hollywood director that magicians use this concept. And now many shows in Hollywood do this. A month before the big writers' meeting, they'll give a pack of sticky notes to the writers and have them write down any ideas for the plot of the show. And no idea is a good idea, no idea is a bad idea. It could be anything at all for the plot. Then they'll put all the ideas on the wall during the meeting. Then the group will go through every single idea and they won't disregard any of them. So they accept all the ideas first and they're unbiased. They don't know who created the idea. So I started to realize that there were some creative strategies that magicians used that could be applied to corporations as well. So I asked myself, is there an overlap here between magic, innovation, and leadership? Could I actually use my background in magic to help other people instead of using magic to trick other people like other magicians do, right? Could I use my magic to help people, not trick people? So I decided to travel for about 5 years to study and live with some of the world's most successful magicians and creative thinkers and scientists to learn what processes they were using to take a vision in their head become a reality. What did they do when they woke up? What did they do when they went to bed? How did they deal with stressful situations? How did they motivate their employees? So I end up creating a 2-hour documentary. I have over 200 pages of research, but I wanted to share a few concepts with you today that I think were the most interesting. And these strategies are really cool because they can be applied to no matter what department you work for, or what you do for a career, or what your life aspirations might be as well. So here's today's goal. Provide you strategies and case studies so you can brainstorm ideas at a more effective pace and be more innovative in your industry. Look at this. By 2023, over 50% of all ICT spending will go towards digital transformation and innovation, up from 27% in 2018 and growing at a compound annual rate of 17%. Look at Google's cloud mission. Accelerate every organization's ability to digitally transform and reimagine their business through data-powered innovation. It's all about innovation, right? But, here we go. Here's the key thing to think about. The first rule of innovation: always remember that some products and services that we use today were once impossible and completely unthinkable in the past. Some people would have considered these concepts magic if they actually became reality. I want you to imagine trying to explain these concepts to someone, let's say 100 years ago. They would think that you are insane, and they would call you crazy. They would think they'd be impossible. Here we go. GPS. You know how to get to anywhere in the world. Really think about that for a second. We know how to get to anywhere in the world. That is magical. It really is magical. Here's another example: a headset and microphone translator. So for instance, let's say I travel to Spain, but I don't know Spanish. I can talk in English. The microphone will hear me and in real time translate what I say into Spanish, using a little speaker. And then if someone responds back in Spanish, the microphone will pick it up, translate it into English, and I can hear it in my headphones. In other words, I can communicate with anyone that speaks a different language than me. That is amazing, absolutely amazing. Here's another example: Siri. If you say, "Hey Siri, what planes are above me right now?" You know exactly where each plane is going. So you can look up, you can be sitting on a park bench, look up and see a plane. That one's going to Belgium. That one's going to France. And that one's going to London. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible, the technology that we have nowadays. So I started to realize, wow, you know what? Successful magicians and successful leaders strive to achieve the same goal. They use creativity strategies to study situations from untraditional point of views to make impossible visions become possible while creating transformational experiences for those around them. But the key word here is creativity. What do people think when they hear the word creativity? This is based on real data that I did, based on real data. You can't teach creativity. Creative people are messy people. Creative brainstorming shouldn't have structure. Creativity can't be measured. Constraints kill creativity. Only certain careers need a creative mindset. That's all false. This is all false. Not true whatsoever. These are all false statements. The true definition of creativity, true definition: our ability to find connections, rules, and patterns to solve problems in better ways than past methods. Yet I see these mistakes all the time. Two most common mistakes that restrict our creativity. Number one, denying too many ideas. Assuming specific ideas aren't practical or won't be successful. That idea won't work because. I hear this all the time. On the other side of the spectrum, we have accepting too many ideas. This leads to lacking originality by using the same strategies as other people. Well, if it worked for them, then it must work for us as well. We should just do it. It's not always the case. Not always the case. Here is the middle ground: integrating a new approach with a familiar concept. Think to yourself, it may not work, but let's try just in case because we might learn something new. However, I see corporations and people always trying to promote creativity, but here's what they say. Be creative, but make sure it's the right decision. Be creative, but you can't mess it up, don't mess it up. Be creative, but our customers must love the idea. I hear that all the time. And as you know, the second part of those sentences are the reasons why some team members don't pitch ideas. It's not that your team members are afraid to contribute new ideas. It's that team members are afraid of other people rejecting them or seeing them fail, which therefore prevents them from contributing new ideas. They think to themselves, I haven't failed if my idea sits in my head and no one can criticize it. Smart thinking there, right? Right? I say it all the time. So a leader's goal should be this. Limit rejection right off the bat. Rejection leads to people feeling left out, which leads to a decrease of odds of future sharing for that individual or that team. Here's something very important. I want you to realize this. Our brain is programmed to listen with the intent of responding back, not with the intent of listening to understand. I'll say it again. Our brain is programmed to listen with the intent of responding back, not with the intent of listening to understand. So our brains naturally look for gaps in new ideas that we hear. For example, I remember working for a company, and the boss would always just point out flaws in people's ideas. So from the company from the outside looked like it was very successful. But from the inside, it had a very high turnover rate with the employees, and everyone was absolutely miserable working for them. Pixar does it a little bit different. Their animation studio adopts the strategy of yes and. So a quick example is that an animator will sketch a new character for a movie and show it to the producer. And rather than the producer saying, yes, that's an idea, but that's not what I was looking for, they'll say, yes, I like this aspect of the idea, and let's work on this aspect of it. So the lesson is to find something positive about someone's idea, and this will create a positive reinforcement atmosphere and will most likely lead to that individual keep pitching ideas in the future. But that's the key to creativity. That is the key to creativity. You want to have as many ideas and perspectives as possible when creating something new. Sometimes we can be so focused on our own individual mindsets or belief systems that we often forget to take other perspectives into consideration. I'll give you a few examples. Imagine someone recently moved to America, and they know a few words of English. Let's say his name's Abdul. Abdul is walking down the road one day and sees this big blue sign with those letters on it, G-H-E-T-I. Abdul comes up to you and says, hey, that sign says fish. Do you know what the fish are? Fish? Huh? You would think Abdul's crazy, right? Clearly that doesn't say fish. Most people, they would just ignore him, like, oh, this guy's crazy, this guy's nuts, right? Before I reveal the answer, I want you to think about why or how Abdul would think that says fish. And I'll give you a hint. A getty isn't a type of fish. I think some people may be seeing that word and say, oh, that says getty or gehetty or something along those lines. That's not a type of fish, okay? So why do you think he would think that says fish? It's a good question. Very tough. Here's the answer. Rather than making assumptions and thinking he's wrong, try to see it from his perspective. And if you listen to him and try to understand it from his perspective, you would learn he just moved to America and he knows a few words of English. And if Abdul knew the words on the left, it wouldn't be surprising that someone could think the word says fish. We have tough, rough, cough. The GH makes an F sound. Knowledge, college, children, the E makes a I sound. Competition, nation, direction. The TA makes a sh sound. So fish, fish, fish. Kind of makes sense. I know it's a little silly, but now you understand, like, oh, okay, that, from his perspective, that could actually say fish. Let's try something else. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to memorize one of the following playing cards I'm about to show you. Okay? I'm going to put some playing cards up on the screen. 5 seconds. I want you to memorize one of them. But don't tell anyone the card you're thinking of. Okay? Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Memorize one. Don't forget it. Before I put this presentation together, I thought about the audience. And I took an educated guess that every single person watching this would think of the same exact card. I could be wrong, but I took the risk. I decided to remove one card from the pile. I removed one card from the pile, and let me know if your card is still there. Is your card missing? So was everyone actually thinking of the same card? Did I get it right? That's pretty strange, right? Pretty weird, right? Okay, all right, I'll be honest. I'm going to tell you how it works. I'm going to tell you how it works. I showed you 2 different sets of cards. They look similar, but they're different. They look similar, but they're different. So it's easy for our subconscious to be fooled if we focus too much attention on one specific thing. Here's another example. I love this. It's all about how you see the situation, right? This is one of my favorite signs. You matter. Don't give up. Or, you don't matter. Give up. It's all about perspective. How you see a situation. Here's another example. Do you see a duck? Do you see a rabbit? Or do you see an elephant? A duck, a rabbit, or an elephant? What animal do you see in this picture? Now, you may see a duck at first. Or if you looked at it from a different perspective, maybe you saw the rabbit first. Okay, and I may have lied about the elephant part, but whenever my friend and I have a disagreement about something, I take a pause and I ask him, hold on, are we having a duck-rabbit scenario here? In other words, are we actually doing the best we can to try to understand the other person's perspective here? Or are we only focusing on our own individual perspective and trying to defend our own stance? So the next time you think someone is wrong and your perspective is correct, remember that our personal experiences and our backgrounds shape how we approach problem solving and how our brains are developed, how we see things. It's all different. So ask yourself, are you looking at the situation from your perspective or their perspective? Do you have all of the facts, or are you making assumptions? I want to do another example here. I have a deck of cards here. Okay. And we're going to give them we'll give them a quick shuffle. We'll give them a quick shuffle. Just make sure they're all mixed up. And we're going to select a card. So let's say we do this one right here. What do we have here? The 3 of diamonds. 3 of diamonds. Now watch this. I'm going to do this very, very, very carefully. Keep your eye on the 3 diamonds. I'll do this very slowly. I'll take the 3. I'm going to put it somewhere into the middle of the pack. And it goes right into the middle. Okay. Now watch. Watch very, very carefully. Watch very, very carefully. 1, 2, 3. And just like that, it goes right to the top of the deck. That's pretty crazy, right? I know, pretty crazy. Now, here's the thing. I want to help you figure this out. So let's go through what you're probably thinking about right now. What's probably going through your mind. And you're probably thinking of what exactly happened. So let's look at the facts. Fact number 1, I took out a deck of cards. Fact number 2, I showed you that they were all different. Fact number 3, I shuffled the cards. Fact number 4, we took out one card. Fact number 5, I put the card into the middle. And fact number 6, it came to the top. Now all of those are accurate, right? All of those things actually happened. So how did I do that trick? Hold on here. Are you sure all of those things happened? What about fact number 2? When did I show you that all the cards were different? Every single card is the 3 of diamonds. Yes. 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 They're all the 3 of diamonds. They're all the 3 of diamonds. So I love this lesson because most people assume they're all different. Even when I don't even show them to you. They just assume they're all different. Most people create a false memory in their mind that never actually happened, and they make an assumption. So a common mistake in the creative process is called fixation. So this is making assumptions by having tunnel vision or getting stuck in a certain mindset based on past experiences. So this is consciously or subconsciously adapting old solutions to new challenges which may not necessarily work. And here's an example. A professor one day asked a few of his classes to design a spill-proof coffee cup. So a coffee cup that couldn't spill over. However, in case they wanted to be inspired by anything, he showed them a little prototype design before they began. A design that was created beforehand. The professor then told other classes to design a spill-proof coffee cup. Same thing, but he didn't show them any prototype design beforehand. So he repeated this experiment and noticed that the classes that did not see the prototype design beforehand actually produced more creative ideas compared to the classes who did see the prototype design beforehand, right? Why did this happen? Because the classes who saw the design beforehand were subconsciously influenced by past ideas. So if you're not careful, you'll fall into what's called the benchmarking curse. So this is being fixated and influenced by past ideas, but more specifically, you're copying someone else's strategy instead of adapting it to your own situation. Here's an example. One magician did a trick on television where he drew a bowling ball on a notepad with a marker, closed the notepad, squeezed the notepad, and a real bowling ball fell out. Pretty crazy. Other magicians saw this. They said, wow, that's a great trick. Every single magician started to put it into their act. It was such an amazing trick. Every magician started doing it. However, some magicians were getting great reactions, and some magicians were not when they performed it. They said, what was wrong? It's the same trick. Shouldn't everyone's reaction be the same? Not necessarily. The issue wasn't the trick itself. The issue was that it didn't fit some of the magicians' styles. So Kayla Drescher came along and thought to herself, well, what makes me unique? Well, she is a female magician in kind of a male-dominated industry. By the way, let's start changing that. So she decided to draw a pair of heels instead of a bowling ball. So she would draw the pair of heels, squeeze a notepad, the pair of heels would appear, she would put them on, and began her show and called it Magic in Heels, which then received the attention of David Copperfield, one of the most successful magicians of all time. So I created what I call the Magician Entrepreneurial Journey. So it's a process that I made that I think can help you avoid making those mistakes that I mentioned. And they're designed in a way so you can actually have fun doing them. So this is based off of all my research that I've done. So I think you're going to find these pretty cool. So phase 1, how do you actually think of a new idea? So there are 2 types of brainstorming. We have top-down and bottom-up. So top-down, you think to yourself, what is the ultimate goal? What do I want to achieve here? What's the vision? Let's say you want to bring in $1 million for your company. What strategies are you going to do to achieve that? And then you work backwards. Or you have the bottom-up. What are my resources? What do the data say? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? How can I blend everything together to create something amazing, And more specifically, one of my favorite strategies is called opposite object technique. Opposite object. Have your team members bring in 2 things into a meeting and try your best to come up with as many ideas to blend those 2 things together. Now, before I continue, I know what you're thinking. I'm a magician. I know what you're thinking. What's inside the bag? What's inside the bag? So I'll show you. I have 2 things in here. 2 things. The first thing I have is a Rubik's Cube. A Rubik's Cube, put that there. And the other thing I have is a glass jar. A glass jar. A Rubik's Cube and a glass jar. So I thought to myself, you know, these two things here have nothing in common, right? Like, I think about, you know, maybe the size is the same, but it's really kind of, you know, nothing in common here. So I thought to myself, how can I combine them to create something amazing? So if I do this, if I take the glass jar and I put it back into the bag like so, and then I take the Rubik's Cube and I put this back in the bag like so, again, I thought to myself, how can I create something amazing? How can I combine these to create something amazing? No, literally combine them. Just as see. It goes right through the glass. Right through the glass. Now here's the thing. I want to give this out to someone. I want to ship this out to someone. So what I want you to do is connect with me on LinkedIn and then shoot me an email and with the subject line, impossible is just a word. And I want to ship this out to someone. I'm going to pick someone at random. Okay, so connect with me on LinkedIn and then shoot me an email and I will send this out to you. Okay. So yes, again, think about two things, nothing in common. How do you create an impossible scenario? Something amazing. Okay. Let's continue. So here is a business example, which I think is very, very clever. Reebok wanted to create a new shoe, but they were stuck out of ideas. So they started looking at what the other competitors in the shoe industry were doing and seeing if they could tweak any of their strategies. However, one person mentioned something about the blood pressure monitor technology that doctors use. And they blended together and the famous Reebok pump shoe was born. So this was like a little pump on your heel to make your shoe, you know, the little pump on the heel of your shoe to make you jump higher. Did it really make you jump higher? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But it was very successful. Another example is after explaining the opposite object concept at a keynote, a technology company reached out to me a few months later and said they developed a water bottle, but the cap of the water bottle was a Bluetooth speaker, which I thought was pretty cool. A local brewery and a local animal shelter partnered up for cross-promotion and put dogs that needed to be adopted on their cans. So when people went to the brewery, they would see faces of dogs with information on them on the label, and then the attendance of both the brewery and the animal shelter just skyrocketed, and it was a win-win situation. Here's another example. The challenge. The bottom of chairs were scratching the floors when you pull them out. And I bet my life, during the meeting to fix this, there were two potential solutions. Number one, we have to purchase new chairs. Or number two, we have to purchase a new floor. Both really expensive options. What about just putting tennis balls on the bottom? Pretty genius, it was genius. You could apply this to events as well. So a cybersecurity tech company did a virtual event in March where the famous college basketball tournament takes place, and it's called March Madness. Okay, it's a big college basketball tournament. So this company decided to call their event Cyber Madness, where the first 30 minutes was them describing kind of the new products and services, you know, to the audience, and the next 30 minutes was kind of a virtual interview with the guest speaker named Jim Nance, who was the announcer of the actual March Madness basketball games. So they blended a few different components there, using pop culture and using a name, and it was really cool, really cool. Imagine this. A man's passionate about biking, but he can't share the experience, you know, with his wife since she's disabled. What does he do? He blends a wheelchair and a bike to create the wheelchair bike. And one last example. A yoga company created business cards that could roll up into a little yoga mat, right? So think about how you can blend two things together to create something unique. Phase two, create the context. How do you make your idea relatable to your audience so it captures their attention? Sometimes people can have the best ideas in the world, but if they're too complex or they're too hard to explain and you can't make it relatable, other people won't be interested, right? As human beings, our brains learn more from stories compared to just reading statistics. And a quick example is that studies have shown that people who read about scientists struggling and then persevering were more successful in science class compared to students who just read facts about the scientists. So even at a young age, our brains respond better to stories than stats. Again, here we go. Research shown that storytelling is the best way to spark someone's interest in a new idea. Stories touch the emotional part of our brains compared to facts that only touch the surface. Look at this. Stories and gossip make up 85% of our conversations. 85%. Research shows that messages delivered as stories can be up to 22 times more memorable than just facts. Out of the top 10 viewed TED Talks, 65% of the content focuses on stories. A social experiment showed that when people are asked to recall speeches, 63% remember the stories and only 5% remember any individual statistic. Whew. And also I find it ironic that I'm telling you statistics about how we shouldn't be using statistics. You get the idea. You get the idea. One of my favorite campaigns is when Microsoft. So Microsoft's marketing campaign was to highlight stories from people who were using their technology in really creative ways. So Instagram teamed up with them and they toured the world and met real Microsoft customers who were doing really cool things and pretty much told their stories. So people were just naturally drawn to it. So they published photos and videos and stories on Instagram with the hashtag #DoMore. So one of the stories was Lila Gambari, who was a barista and kind of used Skype as a way to showcase her barista skills to the world. So again, rather than Microsoft talking about the technical aspect of their products and their services, they told stories, which did two things. It increased user-generated content because people were using the hashtag, and also strengthened the relationships with their customers. But you also have to be careful when telling stories, because I see this mistake all the time. Don't make everything predictable. Leave out one detail until the very end to keep your customers on their toes. So Penn and Teller, one of the most successful magicians of all time, they're currently the longest running headliner to play at the same hotel in Las Vegas history. And they use twist endings when telling stories to keep their audiences engaged. So for example, one of the tricks they do is they saw the resistant in half, and then they actually reveal how it's done. And the secret is that the saw never goes through her, and it stops before her stomach, but the box is built in a way so it looks like the saw goes right through. And the audience says, "Oh, okay, that's how it's done. Oh, that's pretty cool." And they're applauding, and as they take their bows, the chainsaw wire snaps in half in the background, and it goes right through the assistant's body, and blood splatters everywhere. It's crazy. So I did a keynote for a watch company, and I told them about this strategy. And a few months later, their executives reached out to me and said that they implemented it with a new watch release, and it was one of their best releases. So here's what they did. So typically they'll provide information about the new watches like a month before they're available to the public. They can increase the pre-orders that way. This time around, they didn't do that. They told their customers the features, yet didn't tell them one feature until the day before the release. And it was the durability of this particular watch. So this watch, you could drop from 100 feet off the ground and it wouldn't crack. And so they've actually filmed themselves doing this, and they released the video the day before they released the watch. So in other words, the customers thought they knew everything about the watch, but in fact they didn't. So everyone started talking about the watch again, and again sales increased after that. So in other words, keep your customers on their toes in order to cause interest and create engagement. So for my next example, I'm going to show you this advertisement. Okay, it's a 2-minute video. It's really short. But as you're watching it, remember what they're trying to sell you: a pack of gum. But see how they're using storytelling to do it. Okay, so we'll play the video right now.
extra, get extra.
I'm going to be honest with you. I cried the first time I saw that advertisement, okay? I actually cried watching an advertisement for a pack of gum. It gets me every time. It gets me every single time. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. So phase 3, let's move on. Phase 3, communicate the idea. So I've learned over the years that many people struggle with communication mainly due to being nervous. And I want to share a strategy that I think will help you with that and shift your mindset a little bit. So if you want to be more outgoing or more confident, watch a few minutes of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson before you interact with others. He's always full of confidence. Or do you want to be, let's say if you want to be funnier when you interact with others, watch a few minutes of Will Ferrell or a person that you find is funny. And you don't need to study their jokes or phrases either. Just by consuming funny content, it will go into your subconscious and you will actually become a funnier person naturally. And again, I know the Rock or Will Ferrell may not be well known in your specific country or culture. So this is based on your own personal preference on who you think has a lot of confidence or is funny or any other trait you're working on, because this strategy works with any personality trait. So do you want to start thinking with a more curious mind? There was a study that showed that those who imagine themselves as scientists were more creative in developing new ideas compared to those who imagine themselves as having a less creative path. And I think they use a librarian. Again, no offense to the librarians up there, right? So in other words, our subconscious and behavior, they're influenced on what we consume and think on a daily basis. So if you ever notice, if you buy a blue car, you start to notice more blue cars on the road. Now it's not because they're producing more cars. Actually, maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe they are, but it's mainly because a blue car has been in your mind, and since you recently purchased one, and therefore you start to notice them more. Okay. So the next time you're trying to work on a specific trait, try imagining yourself as someone else who has that trait, and your brain will just naturally adapt. Number 4, feedback. Many leaders put money, time, and energy into something that people don't actually want. Yep, and yet they fail to do surveys and collect data. So I think this is the most important stage in the entire process. So a common leadership mistake I see is not doing surveys and having an "I want to win" mindset compared to "I want to know if I'm wrong" mindset. Ask yourself, why is this a good idea, as opposed to how is this a good idea? So again, my friend Vin, he creates multiple shows before doing a tour. He performs them to different crowds, has them do surveys afterwards, and then builds the best show based on that data. My friend Michael, he has a team member after his show ask audience members what they didn't enjoy about the show. Just start talking to audience members. But he doesn't tell them that he's part of the production team. Whereas other magicians, other performers, they focus on the tricks that people did like and their strengths. Oh, what was your favorite part about the show? No, he wants to say, what didn't you like about the show? What didn't you like about the show? Another mistake I see is only asking or consulting with people in your industry. For example, many people ask me how the magic industry works. John, do you create your own tricks? Do you perform tricks that other magicians created? Are there copyright issues? All valid questions. So I personally develop my own material, and then I tweak other magicians' material to fit my style. However, in order to learn material from other magicians, you buy the trick from them to learn it. So a magician could develop a trick, they'll produce a video of themselves performing the trick, and then if another magician wants to learn the method, then they would purchase the trick from the creator. So throughout the year, magicians will release all these new tricks that they created through these videos. And everyone in the magic community will be excited about the tricks, and they'll say things like, oh my God, how is this done? I have to get this, I have to put this in my show. I don't know what the method is. My audience will love it. This looks like it could win all these awards and be the trick of the year, right? And they'll go out and buy it, and then they'll put it in their shows. I operate a little bit differently. I show the performance videos to my friends who are not in the magic industry, and I get their thoughts. You'll never believe it. I would probably say over 10, 12, 15, maybe 20 different occasions, they respond back to me. And my friends do, who don't perform magic, after I send them the video. And they say, John, I don't understand what the trick was. What's so amazing about what this magician is doing? All he's doing is XYZ, whatever the method is. And I'll respond back with, no. It can't be that easy. No way. Well, yes, I'll go out and buy the trick, and I'll learn the method, and my friends were exactly correct, right? So in other words, the other professional magicians were biased. They thought it was an incredible trick, and their audiences would love it. They thought they knew so much about magic that they'd say, this is a great trick. In reality, it's not. The audience doesn't like it. Not only that, but they can figure out the method just by watching a video of it. So this is similar to what I call the hippo paradox. So I see some leaders only ask feedback from people who are their superiors or their bosses or people who have been in the industry for a long time. So this can be beneficial at times, but it can also be a downfall if you're not careful, because we tend to ask information from people who look like us, just like us, have the same career as us, have a similar cultural background like us. And when we do this, we start to develop similar mindsets and habits and problem-solving strategies and opinions, which can be hard when you're trying to create something new. Here's another example. The UK produced a show called The Office. An NBC network from the United States decided to remake it for a US version. So these high-profile executives and producers in the US were working on this project. In the past, they produced really successful sitcoms, but they didn't find this new Office show, they didn't really think it was that funny. It had a different sense of humor than the other sitcoms that they worked on that have been successful. So they wanted to cut the project, and they didn't want to do it anymore. So the producers gave it to the interns to throw out, who were kind of in their young 20s. And these young interns brought it back home and watched a few episodes of it, and they thought it was hilarious. So they came back the next day and told the producers, they said, you can't cut this project. This has really good potential if we approach this correctly. What the executives and the producers realized was that their experience in producing these really successful sitcoms in the past, they thought they had all the answers of what would be successful and what wouldn't be, not realizing that they were biased in the type of comedy they were analyzing. And literally in 2021, The Office was one of the most watched shows on Netflix, the U.S. version. So it was a good thing those interns took a look at those clips. So what's the lesson? Be more open to outsiders' feedback. It's similar to the opposite object concept, but apply it to other people who know nothing about your industry to get fresh perspectives. Phase 5, tweak based on the data. This is one of my favorite strategies, and it's called change one word. Take an existing idea, condense it into a few words, and then continuously just change one word. So for example, there's a trick I do in my show where I go into the audience, I have someone take out a card, have them sign the card, put it back in the middle, then I take the deck of cards and I kick the cards from the audience to the stage, and their signed card appears in a little cup on the stage. So if we condense it, it's kick card to cup. Well, what if we change one word? What if we do throw card to cup? Okay, so rather than kicking the cards, I throw the cards in the lanes. Okay, that's a good trick. Or rather than throw card to cup, why don't I do throw card to wall? What if I took the cards, threw them at the wall, and their card got stuck to the wall? It's pretty good. Rather than throw card to wall, what if I do throw card in wall? What if I took the cards, threw them at the wall, and their card got stuck inside the wall? That's pretty good. What about throw card in wall? What if I do throw phone in wall? What if I took someone's phone, threw it up in the air, and it vanished and end up inside the wall? So you can use this strategy on your team as well. Take an existing concept, condense it into a few words, and pass it around the table and have people change one word. Okay, so here are a few examples, but more specifically, I want to focus on the last one, pull door to push door. So I did a keynote for a hotel and a hospitality conference a few years ago, and the manager told me that she used this strategy for the customer experience. So she told me that at their hotel, there was an indoor buffet with indoor seating and outdoor seating. However, in order to sit outside, you need to pull the door. So she noticed that people would have plates of food in their hand from the buffet, and it was difficult to hold a plate of food while pulling the door to enter the outside. So some people would just just naturally sit inside, to avoid that weird awkwardness and struggle. After she noticed this, she had the maintenance people change it to a push door. So it'd be easy for people to simply have the food in their hand and just lean on the door and just go outside and eat outside. After they changed that, they saw a 75% increase in outdoor seating from past years. 75% increase. I want to show you another example here. I have this book here. This book is just a fun magic coloring book. Inside we have all these cool different pictures of just different cool, little magic things, people performing and stuff like that. Check this out. I want you to watch this. If I take the book, filled with all these different colors and pictures, but if I take the book, watch, just like that. I do this. Looks like I didn't do anything. But what I actually did is I took the colors, and now there's no colors in the book. There's just blank pictures. Right? Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. Now, if we look at that trick, if we condense it, it's colors vanish, right? Colors vanish. But let's change one word. Let's change one word. Rather than colors vanish, what if I do this? Throw it out. Rather than colors vanish, we change one word and we make it so the pictures vanish. Now there are no pictures in the book whatsoever. So that's a cool concept of, again, changing one word to develop a brand new concept. So remember, my job as a magician isn't to fool you. My job is to ask yourself, why? Why did my brain think that couldn't be done? Why have we always done it this way? My job is to challenge your assumptions of what is possible, So before we conclude, I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. I would like to thank you again for having me talk to you today, and I hope you found some of these strategies useful. And I'd also love to learn more about how you integrate them into your personal and professional lives so you can achieve your short-term or long-term goals. So definitely connect with me on social media, shoot me an email as well. And also, if you'd like to learn more about creativity and some strategies and case studies that I didn't have time to talk about today, you can download my ebook for free. Before we conclude, I want to share something with you. To me, magic isn't about fooling people or tricking people. To me, magic is simply anything in life that you thought was impossible become impossible. To me, that's what real magic is. So if you have a goal in your life that you think is impossible to achieve, it could be a personal goal, professional goal, something on your bucket list, and you think it's impossible to achieve, but you just witnessed me perform magic, which again, is the impossible become impossible, then you'd be contradicting yourself if you think your goal in life would be impossible to achieve as well. And I think it starts with the little things in life. Sometimes it's the little things in life that make the big difference. But we have to start changing our perspective in order to notice them. Because sometimes the answer could be right in front of us and we completely miss it. For instance, you took a picture of me in the beginning. Remember that? I want you to open up your phone and look at that picture again. So open up your phone, look at that picture. Like I said, it starts with the little things in life. Sometimes the answer can be right in front of us and we completely miss it. Who noticed that my shirt changed color from the beginning to now? Thank you, everyone. And remember that impossible is just the word with the right perspective. Thank you.